So, the rumours are that Anthony Joshua's next opponent is going to be announced this Thursday or this Friday. The likely shortlist: Stavern, Takam and Jennings. Johan De Par has another fight. Derek Chisora has another fight against Kubrat Pulev. John, give us your thoughts. Who do you think AJ will fight? And if you were managing him, who would you choose for him to fight?
I think who I would choose and who I think he'll pick are the same. I think he'll fight Stavern.
You think he'll fight Stavern?
I don't think it'll be Jennings. And who's the other one? Remind me?
Takam.
Difficult to say, difficult to sell over here, I think. At least Stavern's got the Deontay fight.
You know that Takam is the IBF final eliminator?
IBF eliminator, yeah, I know. But fighting Stavern won't affect that ranking, really, will it?
Why Stavern then?
Because of the type of fighter he is, and the type of fighter AJ's been matched with. You know, he's a squat guy, he's a big, powerful guy, but he's squat and he comes forward. Deontay pretty much boxed his head off for 12 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair to say the blueprint on how to beat Stavern was set in that Deontay Wilder match. Do you think Anthony Joshua will be able to score the knockout against Stavern?
I don't know about knockout, I reckon he might be able to put him down.
So, if you think this fight goes 12 rounds, how confident are you that the Anthony Joshua stamina and defence and chin holds up for 12 rounds against a guy like Bermane Stavern? I mean, let's be honest, Stavern has fought at a much higher level than any of AJ's previous opponents.
Agreed, but I'm fairly confident. I mean, yes, Dillian White did chin check him, there's no debating that. But he did get through that. You know, injuries aside, he did get through that. I don't think he'll be quite as reckless as he was in the Dillian fight.
Absolutely.
I mean, AJ has the pedigree to win every fight in a very boring manner. He doesn't really do that. He has the amateur pedigree and the jab and the long right hands to win every fight, you know, almost in a near Lennox Lewis fashion.
What about Jennings and Takam? How do you make those matchups if they were to be made?
Obviously, Jennings is probably going. Jennings' most recent fight was a poor performance against a flu-ridden Luis Ortiz. But that isn't fair to date his entire career. But however, he is a big heavyweight, and I would be more interested in anyway to see that fight. But I don't know if because of that, I don't know if that will happen.
Okay, make sure you're speaking into the phone because you were choppy a bit there. And what about Carlos Takam?
Bit of an unknown, really. I mean, to the majority of boxing fans who may know his name, he's the guy that got his clock got cleaned by Povetkin. So, in terms of the Eddie Hearn cash cow and protecting it, that might make him more appealing. But that is not an easy fight to sell in the way Stavern, the former world champion, and Jennings, the former world champion, the world championship challenger, are.
Yeah, I see your point. Who do you think's the most beatable out of the three?
I'd probably obviously all of them are elite fighters. I'd say Stavern.
Stavern's the most beatable. And who do you think's the hardest matchup?
Maybe Jennings.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at them is different. I think Stavern I see as the experienced but slow, plodding counterpuncher who Anthony Joshua can outwork for 12 rounds but needs to be careful of the counterpunch. I view Jennings as the athlete, the outside fighter, the mover. Could he test Anthony Joshua's stamina? Very possibly. And to be honest, I see Takam maybe as the more difficult fighter. I know he got sparked by Povetkin, but he was doing well in that fight up until the knockout. He did well against Tony Thompson. He did well against Mike Perez. Could Carlos Takam be the kind of guy who could take away Anthony Joshua's range and get him on the inside and put him on his back foot? I mean, those are the questions that are coming up in my mind. So it'll be interesting to see who they choose.
Agreed. I mean, I agree with most of what you say there, which makes me question whether it will happen.
Pulev Chisora, give me a quick pick.
Probably Pulev, but I would be quite happy to see Chisora do it.
What do you think? Pulev just outboxes him?
Yeah.
Ortiz Dimitrenko.
Ortiz.
KO or points?
Probably KO.
Okay. I want to just switch divisions very, very briefly, and I want to talk about Sergei Kovalev. Is there anyone out there who can beat Sergey Kovalev?
At 175,
Yeah.
Andre Ward is the only person at this point.
Who would you pick in that fight?
Difficult. I will reserve judgment because he has his return match.
You know, I've always been an Andre Ward proponent in that fight, but I'm kind of switching allegiance to Sergey Kovalev now. What tactic, if you were training a fighter against Sergey Kovalev, what tactic would you use against him to get him beat?
To beat Kovalev?
Yeah.
Fight like an Andre Ward, basically. Either stay on the pocket, drop your head and keep moving, or get on the back foot.
What about Bernard Hopkins? Isn't he the ultimate spoiler and the ultimate wrestler in grappling?
He was, but Kovalev didn't, Kovalev was a young, stronger man at the end of the day who didn't allow that to happen.
So do you give Andre Ward more of a chance than Hopkins?
Yeah.
So your tactic to beat Kovalev would be inside, would it? Inside and spoil?
I think that is a tactic. I think it might work. Spoil, stand in the pocket, work on the inside. But,
who do you pick? Current Sergey Kovalev versus peak Joe Calzaghe?
I'd say Calzaghe.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I think Kovalev is a bit special, I did a video the other day where I said, for me, Sergey Kovalev could be at all-time great level. He's that good. He's that dangerous. How do you see Calzaghe beating him?
Sorry, I missed that last bit. Cut out.
How do you see Calzaghe beating him?
In many ways, Calzaghe fought a very similar fight in most fights. But that's what Jeff Lacey. If you could put the Jeff Lacey fight was Calzaghe's best, I think.
John, speak into the phone a bit more.
I am speaking to the phone.
Yeah, well, stay like that. That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. So go on.
But obviously Calzaghe's best night in his career probably was against Jeff Lacey, and that is the sort of that performance I think would be maybe beat to Kovalev, but especially at his peak. Well, obviously that is a very hard thing to reproduce.
Yeah, I just wonder whether Joe could stay away from Kovalev, and as much as I like Joe, he was hurt by much lesser punches than Kovalev, and Kovalev just seems so brutal to me, so brutal. Really hard to say. Just before I let you go, let's wrap up the middleweight division. What do you make of this whole Saunders, Eubank, Golovkin love triangle? What do you think is going to happen next?
I very much doubt either the two British will get in with Golovkin at the moment. I very much doubt that. Realistically, Golovkin will probably fight Dominic Wade in his mandatory just to get that out of the way. And I don't know about Billy Joe versus Eubank too. I reckon it might happen. Billy Joe seems to have gone from no, it'll never happen to why don't we do it? Stadium. So
who would you be picking in that rematch if it did happen? You still with us?
Yes, I said Billy Joe over Eubank.
Billy Joe, how would you pick him? By points, or do you think he'd knock Eubank out second time round? Points. And what about Fury Klitschko? Give us a quick final prediction for that. How do you see that going in the rematch?
Fury.
Talk me through it. How does it go down?
It's the exact same fight as the first fight, only with potentially more spoiling. Vladimir decides he wants to throw a right hand.
So do you think Vladimir's going to engage more? I mean, surely he can't just do the same thing again that he did in the first fight with Tyson Fury.
Exactly, I think he has to. But if Tyson Fury can just play spoiler, especially if it's not in Germany, if it does happen in the UAE or something, then the points robbery is even less of a worry.
I'm 99% sure that fight will happen in Germany. I see that as a near certainty.
Yeah.
What I'm thinking though is if Vladimir Klitschko really engages, I think there's a much higher chance of this fight ending early. Firstly, because Vladimir Klitschko is still an elite power puncher and could take Fury out. Secondly, because Vlad will leave himself open to be countered and hurt, in return.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Look, John, thanks for coming on the channel. Thanks for talking through it. Guys, if you've enjoyed this video, please do support the channel. Click the thumbs up button below. That would help me out, definitely. All these big fights we're talking, it's an exciting time for boxing. I'll be covering them all on the channel. So if you want to hear more, hear some of the build-up, please hit the subscribe button. Many thanks for watching.